MG and BYD, both of these car companies, they are promising people they'll be top 3 car brands in Australia. Top 3 within only a few years' time. Now, is this possible? Well, it is. But for this to happen, customers need to know who you are. They need to know what products you have. They need to know what you're selling and what the advantage is of that product versus the competition. In my opinion, these two companies continue to make a crucial mistake. They are rarely ever at EV shows. And ultimately, this is the grassroots of this EV development, the EV scene in Australia. Why are MG and BYD generally avoiding coming to electric car shows? Coming to car shows and letting people see their products, developing relationships with people, answering their questions. I don't understand this, and I don't see how their plans for Australian domination will actually come to pass if they continue to make this crucial mistake. I've just finished up at the Sydney EV show, and I've got to say the manufacturers provided me with some feedback. Some of them were pretty damn impressed by just how many people came through the doors in Sydney. There's a lot of excitement around EVs right now, and you'd think a lot of it is just Chinese EVs because they're the new brands, they're the new products, they're interesting, but you would have been surprised to see just how many people were at the Audi stand. There was heaps of people at the Audi stand. The same thing for some of the other brands, Kia as well. Honestly, there was so many people at the show, and this is an audience that didn't come. They didn't come for other mobility. They didn't come for solar. They didn't come for batteries. It's a very, very targeted audience. You pretty much know that anyone who walks through the doors, they're not expecting to see other products. They're just there to see electric cars. That's really one of the big positives about this that I think that this show has over the competition. And I think you'll see that more and more manufacturers will start to realize that they've got a captive audience at the Sydney EV show. There's people there that really are ready to buy. Personally, I know 100%, I can guarantee you that many people at the show actually have placed orders within the last week. People have emailed me saying, "Oh, Sam, I've bought this or I've bought that." So the feedback that I'm getting from both people who visited the show and from the OEMs is that EVs are about to skyrocket. Sales in Australia, they have gone down a little bit lately. But the excitement around electric cars, to me, shows that there will be a very large number of people buying over the next few months. And I think that's going to continue growing. We're seeing in China, 56% of all cars sold in the last few months, 56% are now electric or NEVs, so plug-in hybrids and EVs. But of those 56%, around 70% were fully electric. Now, that's what the great thing about this show is. It's primarily electric cars. So you've got an audience there. They know that it's primarily electric cars. Primarily, they're there, to find the EV that they want to buy. So that's why I think it's worth doing this show. And me personally, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed being up on stage and being around some passionate EV fans, seeing their positivity, their excitement. And we really try and keep it positive at the show. Doing these presentations on stage, having this audience here, we keep it as positive as possible. I think if you talk to Hankook Tires, they'll give you some feedback on the very positive experience that it was. A lot of people now are saying they want EV-specific tires as a result of coming to the show, seeing these new EV-specific tires, getting this kind of education around what they need. So a lot of what we aim to do at the EV show, and I think it was very successful this year, is to educate customers around the industry, to show them EVs, fires, they don't catch fire, to explain to them all the enormous improvements in EV technology. So what that means is, if you do have your cars there on display, it's much more likely people up on the actual stand where we're giving these presentations, much more likely they're going to say, well, look at that car over there, and mention it, and mention the technology in that car. And that's what happened. You'll find that many of the cars at the show are being talked about now on social media. They're being talked about. There's a lot of buzz going on social media. It's going to result in better brand recognition and more sales over the next few years. And the Australian car market is being disrupted. If you're an OEM and you're not there, you're going to be disrupted, guys. I'm sorry to say this, but if you're not there, you're in danger of not being seen by your customers. And this enormous disruption, what we're seeing in China, enormous disruption of legacy automakers, that will continue here in Australia. So I think if you're a legacy automaker, you've got to be careful and not be too arrogant, not have that hubris of saying we're here, people already know who we are, because your competitors are coming. So it's very important that you compete with those competitors, get your cars out in front of this audience, let them know that you got good products as well. Because a lot of this audience, they think, well, Chinese EVs maybe they're better. So you got to educate them to say, look, we do have this Ford Mustang Mach-E is actually pretty good. Some of these other cars are actually, some of these EVs, like Kia's EVs, Hyundai's EVs, they're really, really good. And what I think surprised a lot of people at the show is MG wasn't there, BYD wasn't there. Where were they? A lot of customers were very, very disappointed. A lot of customers appear to have made orders for Xpeng cars, for Zeekr cars at the show. BYD wasn't there and MG wasn't there. And I think those two brands probably made a bit of a critical mistake in not coming to the show, not getting their cars out, because this is a captive audience. These are, well, not just a captive audience, but these are people who often influence their peers. If you have a talk to them, they're very knowledgeable and they often will influence people around them. I really think you're missing an opportunity, if you're not at the show, of getting these people sort of on side, explaining to them your products, developing a relationship with these kind of alpha people who definitely spread this sort of news and information to those in their community. Thanks for watching.